People want to talk about it, so let's do it. Does Deion Sanders to the Dallas Cowboys make any sense? What is up, everyone, and welcome into A to Z Sports Dallas Primetime. I am your host, Mauricio Rodriguez, streaming with you live every Sunday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central, and catching up with you Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays with quick-hitting videos such as this one. A lot of people are talking about Deion Sanders potentially ending up with the Dallas Cowboys in 2025 because a coaching change is naturally expected for the 3-7 Dallas with Mike McCarthy going on a contract year and everything, right? This is his final year with the Cowboys per his contract. So people are wondering if Dallas is looking for a new coach. Could they look at Deion, who is being extremely successful at the coaching level after a first year at Colorado, which wasn't great? They went 4-6, but now turning it around. I believe they're 7-2 at this moment, headed to the college football playoff and making a lot of noise the Deion Sanders way. And over the last few days, this conversation has gotten even louder thanks to one man and one man only, Michael Irvin, who last Friday during the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight said on the air, streaming, right, with Netflix, that he was going to be on Jerry's ears about Deion Sanders. And then today he was on the Colin Cowherd show, and he said that he 100% believes that Deion would take the Dallas job if he gets Shedeur Sanders in Dallas as well. So let's take a quick listen. Here we go.
News today. You do believe, and I do too, that if Shedeur went to the Cowboys, Deion would accept the job.
I believe 100%. And I can tell you, good sources have told me that. Great sources have told me that. That's all I can say like that without violating anything else.
The playmate. You know I love having it.
So, hey, Michael Irvin doing things as he always does, right? Being a great entertainer and everything. But the part that really catches your attention is the great sources part, because that could mean one of the things, right? If we're being real with ourselves. That could mean either he's talking to Deion about this and he knows that if he gets to coach Shedeur Sanders in the NFL, he will take that chance. And or B, he maybe did talk to Jerry Jones about it and maybe he got an idea of how things are looking for 2025. However, let me pour a bucket of cold water on this whole thing right away before we really get into discussing if it makes sense or doesn't make sense. The part that makes the least sense is the idea of Deion Sanders going to Dallas because he'll get to coach Shedeur. That is going to be, man, it has so many layers of it's never going to happen. And I'll go through them very quickly here. The most obvious one is the Dak Prescott deal, right? The Cowboys not only are tied to Prescott economically because of the deal they just signed him to, but they gave him that deal because they want him to be the Cowboys quarterback moving forward. So the whole idea of going from Dak to Shedeur Sanders has always been very far-fetched if we're being real with ourselves. That's number one. Number two, say that the Cowboys wanted to trade away Dak Prescott. Say that they found a way to make a deal happen and say that they somehow, some way get out of it. Remember, it has a no-trade clause, by the way, so Dak would have to agree to it. What are you doing then? Are you lining things up since January when you would have to hire Deion Sanders for a chance at drafting Shedeur Sanders in April? That's another way that it doesn't make sense. But I think those are the most superficial levels because of the Shedeur Sanders conversation. Now let's remove the quarterback from the equation. Does Deion to Dallas make sense? No Shedeur. So let's assume the Cowboys are moving forward with Dak Prescott, as they are very likely going to, obviously. And they say they're looking for a new coach. And let's say they're looking for a new coach. Let's say they say, okay, let's get Deion Sanders. Then we get into a whole different conversation. And I think it all starts with, does Deion want to leave Colorado? Per himself, he doesn't. Recently, he talked to the media about this. And he was like, I'm comfortable here. We're getting comfortable here at Colorado. Why would I want to leave? I'm comfortable, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people have been quick to dismiss that statement from Deion, because a lot of people like to point out, well, he said the same thing about Jacksonville State before leaving to Colorado. And I don't blame those people, because this is the coaching world. They say a lot of stuff and then they don't go through with it. There's a lot of coaches changing jobs every single year because money talks, right, in this business. But I will say this. Jacksonville State and Colorado are two very different animals. One of them, it was a great FCS team, right? Now you're looking at Colorado, though. It's a Power 5 team, Power 4, whatever you want to call it. It's a team that is going to be in the college football playoff. And you can see that Deion is all in on the recruiting aspect of it, where even to this day, right, second year of him in Colorado, Shador's living for the NFL, and you're seeing news about, Deion Sanders expected to flip the top quarterback of the class that committed to USC, right? That kind of stuff. You're seeing a lot of it. I talked to Travis May, and I'm working on an article about this for ADZsports.com in case you want to check it out. And I asked him, do you think he would really leave? Travis' answer was very clear. He said that he doesn't believe that it will happen. And he pointed out that how this recruiting class and the way that Colorado is doing things is really setting things up for the future. It really sounds like Deion is in the college football landscape for the long haul, right? Maybe he doesn't want to make the jump to the NFL because it sounds like he's wanting to make a legacy in the college football side of it. There's a playoff now. Colorado is likely going to make it, but Travis even said this to me, and I mentioned Travis. I should have recorded that meeting so you could see it yourselves. But one of the things that he said to me, and again, the article is coming at ADZsports.com pretty soon, but one of the things that he pointed out was Colorado is getting destroyed in the playoffs this year. The reason why is they don't have the depth. That is why Colorado is so all in these recruiting classes. And it just doesn't sound like Deion wants to leave the NFL. But now, that's one part of it. Again, does Deion want to leave? We'll see. Looks like he doesn't. Looks like he does not want to leave. But now let's assume he does want to leave. Is he going to be a good coach at the NFL level? And I don't think that Deion Sanders is the kind of coach that gives you a game day advantage. I don't think he's the kind of coach that gives you an X's and O's advantage. If you're bringing in Deion Sanders, it's all about the culture. But here's one thing that really makes me hesitate about it. Is his kind of culture the kind of culture that you want at the NFL level? That is going to work at the NFL level? Because Deion is old school. Deion is this, authority figure. And of course, a coach has to have authority. But I'm not sure it's the kind of authority that is going to work at the NFL these days. Think of the best coaches around the NFL right now. Right, you've got, and I'm thinking about the Shanahan tree first, Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, Kevin O'Connell. Those dudes have such a high X's and O's level that they're a game day advantage for their teams as play callers. Deion is not that. But also, from a personal level, these dudes are like equals to their players, right? I don't think you see those authoritative kind of coaches anymore in the NFL, Tom Landry style, where they're like, I give you the rules, you got to follow them, and I'm always going to be higher on the hierarchy than you are. I don't think you see a lot of that in the NFL. Even the old school coaches that you see in the league, right? Mike Tomlin, Andy Reid, they're kind of cool coaches. They're not like Deion Sanders is as far as setting the tone on an organization level. I think, at least. Right? I think Andy Reid and I think Mike Tomlin have done a great job adapting to the times and knowing that when you're talking to Pro Bowl players, you better not talk to them from up here. You better not talk to them from a high chair, right? Looking down on them. And I'm not necessarily saying Deion Sanders does that, but I'm saying it's definitely not exactly the way, like Deion's style is not exactly the way that you see Mike Tomlin treat his team or Andy Reid treat his team. And I mentioned those two particularly because they're kind of old school coaches that have been around for a long time. You could also throw John Harbaugh in there, Jim Harbaugh in there. I think Deion Sanders is kind of like bringing a different sort of culture where he is like, we'll do things my way, period, and you'll listen. And I'm not exactly sure that's what you see with so many of these top NFL coaches around the league. He's definitely going to rub people the wrong way if he gets to the NFL level. And now we'll go one step further and let's talk about what the relationship would be with Dallas. And I think this is where you get into the best case scenario. If the Cowboys hire Deion Sanders, is that he's going to want to do things his way and his way only. He's going to want to be the three powers of the Cowboys, right? He's going to be the one who calls the shots. He's going to want to be the owner, the GM, the coach, basically, right? That's something that Travis also brought up during our conversation for the article that you're going to be reading soon at AtoZSports.com. Best case scenario, you get somebody that really shakes things up in Dallas and that stops or takes the reins off of Jerry Jones and he's like, nah, Jerry, we're going to do it my way. And maybe Jerry trusts him because maybe Jerry could go, hey, Deion Sanders is as crazy as I am, so I'm going to trust him on this one. I've done things this way for so many years. It hasn't worked out. I'm just going to make this the Deion Sanders operation. Best case scenario, right? And then the Cowboys kind of escape the whole thing about the front office that we always talk about them being too involved on the football side of it. More realistically, though, it kind of seems like that would be a collision waiting to happen, right? Jerry Jones, Deion Sanders, getting on the same page does not sound like that will be a winning combination if it comes to it at all, right? Because Deion is going to be hard set on doing things one way and then Jerry a different way. I really don't think that would work in Dallas. I think it would be just a bomb waiting to blow up, honestly. And maybe when Deion just gets to Dallas, people are going to be like, oh, sure, players will respect him. But if things start going south and then there's an internal conflict, what are things really going to be like with Deion? I think there's just a lot of question marks about that. And I don't think it makes a lot of sense when you look at it from that perspective. Now, let me ask you in the comments, though, would you bet or would you not bet on Deion Sanders to be the next head coach of the Cowboys? Do you think there's too much smoke or not? I'll let you know my answer, but before I do that, I'll let you know who I'm betting on. I'm betting on Texas Card House to give me the premier poker experience at any of their 6 Texas locations, but particularly at Las Colinas and Dallas venues, where if you go to Texas Card House, where you can meet the excitement of the game with the thrill of playing with the right community, and you get a free month of membership if you mention A to Z Sports, oh man, you know you're gonna enjoy it. Texas Card House gives you the perfect mix of luxury, sophistication, and camaraderie for any poker aficionado, and you can be one of those whether you are a seasoned pro or you're just starting out in the world of poker. Check out Texas Card House, and if you go to the Las Colinas venues or Dallas venues, just mention A to Z Sports, tell them you know us, get a free month of membership, and through 2 free hours to play poker. They've got a great location, and if you are into cards, you know you gotta go to the right spot to play. You gotta go play with the right community. So make sure you check out Texas Card House. You can also check them out on their website and use promo code AZSports, and we'll see you there. Shout out to them. Now, regarding Deion Sanders, though, I'm not betting on it as a realistic option for Sanders and for the Cowboys. And if it happened, I wouldn't be too high on the hire. I know it would be different, and that might get people excited. But right now, I think it's just a lot of noise around Deion Sanders, and I don't see it working out. I don't see it being what he wants. I don't see it being what works in Dallas. Pretty inexperienced still as a coach. I know he went through high school years, like 8 of them and everything, but you don't see Deion be a game day advantage for Colorado at the college football level. I think he would be a coach a lot of people would complain about on Mondays, honestly. But I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys have to say, though. And in the meantime, hit the like button for me, and I'll see you tomorrow night live at 8 p.m. Central. Bye-bye.